Do you ever feel guilty that you aren't speaking your husband's love language when you don't respond to his advances or his initiation, or you realize that you haven't had sex in months or years, and even if you've never even had it for a long time, you're still thinking about it and feeling bad and like you're just not the wife you think your husband should have? If you've ever felt like this, or you're feeling like this now, know that you are not alone. I felt that weird mixture of guilt and also resentment for so many years in my marriage. And I have supported thousands of other women who feel just like you. So know that if you're feeling guilty around not wanting or enjoying sex with your husband and not having it very frequently or almost never, just please know that you're not alone. So in this video, I'm going to be covering 3 ways that you can use, 3 steps that you can use to process these guilty feelings and perhaps take a 1 step out of it so that you can get unstuck and start to move forward, because it's no fun just beating yourself up and feeling bad. Now, I will say, I said that it was a funny mixture of emotions because not always is it just guilt. Guilt can come along with also anger and resentment and frustration and feeling broken and all sorts of other complicated feelings. So know that if you're feeling that way as well, you're also normal. That's the theme of today's video. So before we get into those 3 ways, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Janna Denton-Howes. I am a desire coach. I specialize in helping women married to men, and I'm also the creator of Wanting It More, which is an 8-week group coaching program for women who want and enjoy sex more with their husband. I have a very high success rate, and I'm going to be sharing a few of those details in this video with you. So the first thing to do is really understand what guilt and also what shame are all about, because we can feel these like 6 feelings in our stomach and ruminate over it, but it's good to label it and understand the definition. So Brene Brown, who is a shame and vulnerability researcher, introduced these definitions to me. So guilt is that I have done something wrong. It's around your actions. And shame is I am wrong. Just me, intrinsically, not my actions, not something I've done, just me. I am wrong. And what I think is really happening for a lot of women who feel guilty is that they're actually feeling like there's something wrong with them, that they are wrong as a person, that just intrinsically inside the core of who they are is wrong, is broken, is maybe affected too much by trauma, or maybe there's no answer. It's just there's something wrong with me. Because not a lot of women will say, I have done something wrong. You haven't. And just so you know, you haven't done anything wrong. There are many perfectly legitimate reasons why you may not be wanting and enjoying sex very much. There's cultural reasons. There's reasons from your past, even from the generations that have come before you through epigenetics. There are reasons around miseducation and living in a pornified world as a woman. I could go on and on about the legitimate reasons why. Maybe you're just so overworked and burnt out and exhausted, and there leaves no space to explore other more pleasurable feelings in your life. Maybe you've been taught never to connect with your body and feel disgusted by it and shame around it, right? So you have not done nothing wrong, and also you are not wrong as a person. So just so we can get the facts clear, you have done nothing wrong, and that's what leads to guilt, and you are not wrong as a person, which leads to shame. So that's the first way, is to really identify how you're feeling, and is that truth? Is there truth in that? The second way is to ask yourself, what do I need? Because those guilty feelings, those shame feelings can feel so paralyzing, and there's no way you can move forward. I spent years in that state of just, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Why don't I enjoy and want sex like everyone else seems to be doing? So asking yourself this simple question today, right now, as you're watching this, what do I need? What do I need? Maybe it is more education around who you are as a sexual being and what cultural and systemic factors are affecting your desire. I have a program for that. It's called Wanting It More, and we run it 3 times a year. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to jannadentonhowes.com/wantingitmore. There's a lot of books you can read. You can Google, but be a little bit, tentative. You can go on my YouTube channel. You can take my quiz, jannadentonhowes.com/quiz, the 4 desire fixes. So maybe you want some education, some more training, the stuff that you should have learned when you were young, but you haven't, and we're still not up to date as a society around that. Maybe you need to set some boundaries. Maybe you are just tired of all of the groping and the initiating from your husband, and there's just no space because you're just always feeling like you're saying no. And when you're saying no, then that triggers guilt or shame, and then the cycle continues. Maybe you want to simply schedule sex. That's something that I highly recommend, and design an experience that feels nourishing for you. Maybe you need things to slow down. Maybe you need more help around the house so that you can have a little bit of space to yourself and really get to know yourself as an individual. So number 1, know the difference between guilt and shame and search out the truth. Have you done something wrong? Are you wrong? And you'll probably find, I hope you will, that it's no to both. The second way is to ask yourself a simple question to move out of paralysis. What do I need? What's my next best step forward? And the last way is to give yourself a huge break, a huge dose of self-compassion. You are doing your very best. You're doing your very best as a woman, as a wife. And sex is a lovely thing for a couple to enjoy if done in the right way. But it doesn't make or break a relationship. A marriage can survive with no sex. It can. And that's coming from somebody who spends her whole life and mission helping couples have the best sex of their life. But you and everyone has to come to the conclusion that it would be okay. It would be all right. I like to tell this story. We have a house where we did a lot of renovations in it, and a lot of the windows, we've since gotten the windows replaced, thank goodness, but when we moved in here, the windows were desperate for a cleaning. There was mold, and it was just gross. And we have 24 windows in this house, and so it was a bit of a slog to get through every one of them on top of all the renovations. So we got to all of them with the scraper and the bleach and all of that, and there was 1 window remaining in our ensuite bathroom. And every single time I would go into that darn bathroom, brush my teeth, sit on the toilet, be in the bathtub, it all faced that window. And I would just think, why can't I get it together? What's wrong with me? Why can't I just clean that stupid window? This went on for months. I felt so guilty. I felt so much full of shame around not being able to be that type of woman who just is able to get the job done. So yes, I was on the toilet one day and I just looked at the window and I thought, you know what? I need to give myself permission to never again clean that window. That it will be fine. My children will be loved. I will be healthy. Everything will be okay. Nothing terrible will happen. And I just need to let that window be. And then I got off at the toilet, started to brush my teeth, and I started to look at the window and think, I actually don't want that window to be dirty. I actually want to clean that window. I actually want it. So in my pajamas, I went under the cupboard. I grabbed the cleaning supplies that I put there because it was the last remaining window. I climbed into the bathtub because I needed to do that to reach the window, and I cleaned it. So once you give yourself permission to let go of the things that you're feeling so bad about, that you're clinging on to, then you give yourself space to ask yourself the question, well, what do I need? And what do I really want? If I have permission for this never to happen again, do I want that? And if I don't want that, then what do I want instead? So the 3 ways again, and there's many, this is just getting you started, is number 1, looking for the truth. Have you done something wrong? Are you wrong? It's no to both. Number 2, really asking yourself, what do I need so you can move out of paralysis and take that next best step forward. And the third way is to give yourself a break, to have compassion for yourself And also, maybe give yourself permission to never want it again. And that's okay. And then maybe with a little bit of space, then you can actually question, well, what do I want? I hope that was helpful. I know that this can be really challenging if you're in this space, and I just want to send you all my love, all my empathy, not only from my heart, but from the thousands of women I've supported. Just please know that you're not alone, that this is a common challenge for a lot of women, this feeling guilty that they aren't speaking their husband's love language. And just know that he's okay and you're okay. And you have so much else going for your life and your relationship. So I hope you can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief here and just have space to ask yourself, what do I need? And what do I ultimately want? So if you do want to take that next step forward and get a little bit of education for yourself, you can take the quiz, the 4 Desire Fixes. You can go to jannadentonhowes.com/quiz, and then you'll get your custom results at the end and a few action steps to take if you want to understand a little bit more about how libido works in women. Okay, hopefully this helped you, and I'll talk to you in the next one.